All right, today we're looking at how to solve compound inequalities. What do you think compound inequalities means? For a hint, think about what a compound sentence is. They're very similar. It's where you see a nice connection between that English stuff you've used and math. Compound sentences are when you put two whole sentences together through a connector like and or. Compound inequalities are the same thing. It's two inequalities coming together. To form one solution, though, is the key. Okay? So they might be put together with words like this, and or, and then these words, between and between inclusive. Those are things that you might see written in a regular sentence that tell you that you're looking at an inequality. So for example, x is greater than 2 and x is less than 5. That's an example. This whole thing is an example of a compound inequality. Okay? When it's and, that means both conditions have to be true. So only numbers between 2 and 5 would work. Okay, so another way of writing this one in words would be x is between 2 and 5. Okay? Another compound inequality might be, if I change these to, really quickly, that between inclusive, if I include the 2 and the 5, the way that you would write that using words would be x is between 2 and 5 inclusive. Okay, you could have an or statement as well. You could have x is greater than 2 or x is less than 0. So basically, that's an expression for any number that's not between 2 and 0. Right? Because all the numbers bigger than 2 work and all the numbers less than 0 work, because only one of those two conditions has to be true with an or. The other way that you see compound inequalities written is like this. X is greater than or equal to 2, less than or equal to 5. This one says the exact same thing as this one, if I had the blue lines on there. Okay? Even though it reads 2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 5, if you break that down, it's just two inequalities. X being greater than or equal to 2 and x being less than or equal to 5. So sometimes you can see them written as one little sentence like that too. So and or the one sentence format are kind of the ways that you see them written. And if you see things written in words, words like between and between inclusive show you that you have an and statement going on. Okay? So how do we solve these and how is it, how is that different? Let me show you. Okay. This time we are going to do the graphing because I want you to see how these get graphed. So this one literally says x is between -4 and 7. We don't have any solving to do here because x is already all by itself in the middle of this expression. So I need to draw a number line. I need to start at probably -4 would be a great place to start. I need to work my way back up to 7. So 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, 7. And you don't have to label every number in there. I usually like to make sure I have 0 labeled on there if it's on my graph, though. So x being between these two, but not including the 0 and the 7, I'd make an open circle on both of these, and I would shade the area in between them. If it were an or situation, I would have shaded out, but both of these are true. Again, when you have it written as one sentence like that, and is implied. Both things have to be true then. Okay, next one. This one, you really just have to solve both of them separately. Okay, so luckily we're going to be doing the exact same thing in both of them. So we get 3x is less than -18 in this one, and we get 3x is greater than or equal to -3 in this one. Be careful, when you're dividing, we're dividing by a +3. We don't have to flip the symbol here in either of them. So we get x is less than negative 6 or x is greater than or equal to negative 1. Okay, so drawing this on a number line, I need to make sure I include the negative 6 and the negative 1. Just going to plop those on there really quickly. X could be less than 6, so I'm going to draw an arrow this way, or x could be greater than negative 1. So only the area in between is not included here. Oops, and it was greater than or equal to negative 1. That would have been a bit silly mistake on my part. Okay, so usually when it's or, oftentimes that's what you'll see. You'll see the arrows going out. C is a fun one to solve. You have a couple ways that you could solve this one, actually. What you could do is you could break it up into, if it's easier for you to look at it as 2, you could break this up into 10 minus 2x greater than 6, 10 minus 2x less than 14, and you could put an and in the middle, because that's really what that means. I don't like doing it that way. I think that takes too much effort. If you know that this is an and, what you can do is, instead of doing the same thing to both sides, is usually what we say when we have an equation or inequality. We have 3 sides here, this part, this part, and this part. So we're just going to do the same thing to all 3 parts. Okay, so I subtracted 10 from everywhere. Now I'm going to need to divide by negative 2 everywhere, which means I am going to need to flip all of these signs. So I get a 2 here, flip the sign, x, flip the sign, negative 2. Okay, so now I kind of have it. You don't have to rewrite it after this, but I would. I usually like my lowest number on this side, so I'm going to take this thing and I'm just going to kind of flip it around. I'm going to mirror it. Okay, so what I really have here is x is greater than negative 2 and less than 2. And I can read that from the line above, too. So graphing this, I need a 2 and a negative 2. I'll throw a 0 on there as well. And it's an and I'm including the area in between them. So it's less than 2, greater than negative 2, and all the areas in between. Both of those should be open circles. Okay, so when you have a compound inequality written as one big sentence like that, even if it has 3 parts, you can solve the exact same way you'd solve a regular inequality, except when you do things to try to get the x by itself, you're going to have to do that thing 3 places instead of just 2. Okay, make sure you are graphing these. It's important because it helps me and you make sure that you're interpreting the solutions correctly.